Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. Just thought I'd do a short, kind of random one here of a new product that we found out about a little while ago, which is really awesome and I really like it. Wanted to do a video review. I don't know if anybody remembers, but every once in a while I'll do a video about things that are kind of good for the environment. Like, for example, I did that Japanese laundry ball. Didn't get too many views, but I don't care. I love that thing. I love what it's doing. And this is another one. This is the Abeego Keep Food Alive system. We found out about this in a roundabout way. There's actually an Australian one that we had seen somebody talk about on YouTube. That's called Wrappa. And we were thinking, oh, this looks great. How much is it to ship from Australia to Canada? A little pricey. Then I believe it was my wife's coworker mentioned, actually there's some that's made in Canada. I can't remember the name of it. Lo and behold, this is it, Abeego. What this is basically is a series of cloths that have been infused with beeswax, and what that does is it replaces saran wrap or anything you want to wrap with plastic. For example, I've got a slice of banana bread here, and it's wrapped up in this plastic wrap, which is fine, and we've used a lot. We do this a lot for portioning things out, or there's some items you get in the fridge you just can't help but have to wrap up. And my big grief with those, in addition to kind of the environmental part of things, strictly from a user side, I can't stand the packaging these things come in. Now, this is aluminum foil, because we actually don't use that much saran wrap now. But you know how, like, you're supposed to pull the sheet and it's supposed to be ripped off by this thing? And it's okay in the case of aluminum foil because that's thicker, stronger stuff. It rips quite easily, I guess because the fibers of the material are much stronger. But when it comes to any saran wrap or plastic wrap stuff or cellophane, I find that I'm pulling, and instead of it ripping nicely along the blade, it's just sort of yanking and turning into goo, and you end up with this just horrible mess. We did have one of those boxes with like the big roll inside and the slider. That works great as well, except for eventually the pieces of glue that are holding the slider in place eventually break off and you're kind of back to square one. You got to pull that thing off. No good. So what do we have inside one of these boxes? Essentially this, a sheet of cloth that looks, sort of like almost a plasticky kind of a feeling stuff. And it smells kind of nice actually, but what's neat about it is it does replace saran wrap in that anything you need to wrap up, you can just fold this stuff around it. And okay, well that's fine, but that's no better than a piece of cloth. What's that going to do? The fact that the Abeego has beeswax infused in it means as you hold the stuff with your hands, the warmth of your hand actually warms up the beeswax. And then when you put it in the fridge, it's actually holding its shape. Look at that. That's after just a couple seconds. That's actually holding the banana bread inside there. Pretty impressive. So Abeego is ideal for, this is an onion that we wrapped in it a while ago, and it's thick. It's like bending out, I don't know, really stiff paper, but there's your onion. So anything you want can fit in these things just great. You seal them back up, give them a second with the heat of your hand, and boom, you can put that back in the fridge. Also super handy for large items like this brick of cheese here. And just fold it back. Cut off whatever you need, fold that back down, and then you just slide it right back into the paper, fold it across, and I'm not doing a very good job on camera, but basically you get the gist of it here. It's kind of like just wrapping it in any old piece of cloth, which is great, and then as you hold it, give it a squeeze, give it a chance to kind of fuse with the heat of your hands, and then boom, back in the fridge it goes. So we love these things so much, we got the entire line. In here we've got 3 of the medium wraps, which is that one the cheese is being held in. Here you get a pack of 6 small ones, like the onion. Ironically, they're using that. Oh wow, they've even used the cheese here. So it's not that onions have to go in these and cheese have to go in these. That just is a lucky happenstance. But they're not too expensive, maybe 15 or 20 bucks per box. I'll put the website of Abeego down below. And Wrappa in Australia was around the same price. And considering what you're getting is a reusable sheet you're actually, it's sure for 20 odd bucks for three medium wraps, but considering that's going to last you for months and months, that's a pretty good deal in my opinion. They also make these small batch twists. Essentially what it is any of the excess sheets of material that come off the assembly line, they just make these tiny little twist ties. And again, they're infused with the beeswax, so that'll actually hold its shape as well. And that large size, what's that useful for? Well, you can actually use it for holding things inside, big bowls like this. You can actually do a really good level of storage with that sort of thing. They really do work as a replacement for any kind of plastic wrap. It's impressive. And once again, there's that large size. So that's a pretty big sheet. Now, the one caveat to these Abeego cloths, and it's something to be very careful about, but it's not the end of the world, is remember they are beeswax, and you don't want to put anything warm on them, or you don't want to be washing them in warm water. I actually made the mistake. I used this to rest a spatula that had a bit of warm oil on it, and I think maybe I had loosened some of this stuff up. So just something to be aware of. Don't put anything warm on these. And when you're cleaning, as I'm about to show, use cold water only. So let's turn that on. But the good news is you just wash it like you would any other cloth. Like I essentially just set it down, let's move that across, put a little bit of dishwashing liquid on there, and then I just give it a scrub with like a sponge in this case. And, just give it a flip over. A little bit more detergent there, and away you go. And that's really all there is to it, but again, it has to be cold water only. Do not use warm water on this stuff. There we go. Looks like I've still got some orange there from, I think there was a pepper we had stored in this for a while, but it's perfectly fine and clean, and now I'll just set it on the rack to dry. That's all there is to it for cleaning. Not too difficult for cleaning. I think eventually this material is going to lose its adhesive qualities as the beeswax, eventually goes away, etc. You will just end up with essentially just a piece of cloth that no longer sticks. From what I gather, though, the cloth is actually compostable, so you can just turf that into, whatever your regular recycling options are there for that. Yeah, it's a really nice product, and I'm definitely a convert and a believer. Right, well, until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.